So the World Juniors are coming up. We all know that they take place at the beginning, or you could say at the end of the year and into the beginning of next year. And Team Canada has just put out their preliminary roster of skaters that they're going to bring over to camp and evaluate to see, okay, who's good enough to make the team, who's good enough to suit up in the red, black, and white. I say black now because, yeah, Team Canada jerseys, there's a lot of black nowadays. And who's going to be playing on our World Junior U20 Best in the World team. There have been some good names on the list right here. If you go over to the selection and you see who has had their name put onto the ballot. Owen Power, obviously, first overall pick from last season. He's definitely going to be there. Shane Wright is the projected first overall pick this year, so even though he is an underage player, actually, a double, triple underage player, something like that, from being a U20 player, he's still probably going to get there. You have Connor Bedard, who is over here too. Fantastic pickup. Of course, he's only 16 years old, but being 16 and at the World Juniors does not seem like that big of a deal when you're Connor Bedard and you're just that good. There are some other names over here too. Cole Perfetti is a 2020 guy. Mason McTavish was drafted last season. Hendrix Lapierre, Kent Johnson, Dylan Guenther. We all kind of know and are familiar with a lot of these names. However, when it comes to the D-Corps, let's go over the names that have been included onto the Team Canada D-Corps. There have been 11 defensemen selected so far when it comes to this preliminary roster, and they go as follows. Owen Power, as we said, good player. Lucas Cormier, playing out of the QMJHL. Man, he's a point-producing machine. I get it, Charlottetown was really good last season, but there's a reason why they were really good, and Lucas Cormier was one of those reasons. Caden Gooley, Montreal Canadiens guys over here too. So is Damon Hunt, who is a Minnesota Wild prospect drafted in 2020 for the Moose Jaw Warriors. Then you go down the list, you see Vincent Iorio, Carson Lambos, Ryan O'Rourke, Donovan Sabrango, Ronan Seeley, Jack Thompson, and Olen Zellweger. There's one name amongst this D-Corps that you could say, why the heck is that guy not there? He was drafted in 2021, he was taken by the LA Kings 8th overall, and he is the current top defenseman in the OHL in points, Brandt Clarke. Brandt freaking Clarke, with 23 points in 17 games played this season as the captain of the Barrie Colts, has not been included on Team Canada's preliminary World Junior roster. And because he is not there, it appears that he's just not going to be on the team in general. They're not going to make an exception for a guy and call him in after initially saying no at the very beginning. Brandt Clarke this season, as we said, is the top defenseman in OHL scoring. He's got 17 games played, 23 points. He is one of 2 defensemen in the OHL with over a 1 point per game rating that is anywhere near the top of the point production list right here. All the other guys that are out here scoring as well, they're all older players, and Clarke is one of the youngest guys here at the top of the league. In fact, if you go over to the OHL's all-time records from 2000 to 2021, this season, Brandt Clarke's U19 year in terms of point per game is one of the best seasons we have seen out of an 18-year-old OHL defender. He is going out there above Evan Bouchard in his 18-year-old year, ahead of John Carlson and ahead of Ryan Ellis. There are some very legitimate NHL talents in here that Brandt Clarke is at the same level at or doing better than. Dougie Hamilton, Tony DeAngelo, these guys, we all kind of know just the offensive capabilities these guys have in the league, and Brandt Clarke is in the same conversation as these guys. He is having what is a historically good OHL season for point production, and you're telling me he's not going to be included on the World Junior team? I don't care if this guy's 18 years old and he has a chance to make it next year. He deserves to be there this year. Are you serious? I don't even want to hear the excuse, it's because of the age, they want to go with older guys. No, because Carson Lambos and Olen Zellweger were both 2021 drafted players as well. And if you take a look at these guys, look, Lambos was taken, like 26 or something by the Minnesota Wild. He's a left-handed guy on this team. Yeah, that was however many picks it is, 18 picks after Brandt Clarke went to the Kings. Olen Zellweger was taken 34th overall by the Ducks. Brandt Clarke was taken ahead of all these guys because he is better, and he is not going to be included on this team. In fact, it's a really strange pattern amongst the entire World Junior Defensive Corps for Team Canada this season, but every name they have, Power, Cormier, Gooley, Hunt, Iorio, Lambos, Rourke, Sabrango, Seeley, Thompson, and Zellweger, There are only 2 right-handed defensemen on this team. Are you kidding me? It's Jack Thompson and Vincent Iorio that are the 2 right-handed guys. Everybody else is a lefty. Do they really want to go out there with a decor of potentially all left-handed players? Because look, it's 11 names on the list right here for the defensemen, and not everybody who is on this preliminary list is going to make the team, unfortunately. That's just kind of how it goes. But you couldn't tell me, you couldn't try to convince me that Brandt Clarke, being as good as he is right now, is any worse than any of the guys that you have included on the preliminary roster? This is what James Boyd said, the lead management guy for Team Canada, to Scott Wheeler. Wheeler asked about Brandt Clarke's submission. This was his answer. We're building a team that's able to compete any way you want, and we recognize Brandt as a great player, and he has a specific skill set. I think that Brandt's an exciting player for Hockey Canada in the future, but we're going to celebrate players that we've determined are going to give the coaches the most flexibility to create a team for those situations. What does that even mean? May I remind you that Brandt Clarke earlier this year, playing for Team Canada's U18 team, was a point-per-game player for this squad. He went out there alongside of everybody else that is here, Corson Ceulemans and Zellweger and Guenther and Bedard and McTavish, and he had himself a great tournament as well. He was there, and he did his thing, and he was good. Like, what? For what it's worth, Scott Wheeler, his understanding, he says that Clarke was told that defensive inconsistencies were the reason with his game as to why he was not included. In fact, there are some other guys that aren't even included here that I think probably should have a shot too. If you're going to include Connor Bedard and Shane Wright, it's kind of crazy that Matthew Savoy isn't over there. If you want to talk about guys that were drafted recently, hey, Brennan Othman from the New York Rangers is doing extraordinarily well this season too. That guy, not even on this preliminary roster either. This is what a few other people said about Brandt Clarke and his omission from the team as well. Jeff Fayette responding to the idea that Team Canada won't have a single right-handed shot on D. I mind this less than most people do. I think we've probably overcorrected the handedness battle over the past few years. However, it makes snubbing Brandt Clarke, who should be in on merit along with being a right-handed D, even more confusing. Wheeler says, according to 2 people close to the LA Kings prospect, his non-invite to Team Canada's camp is not related to protocols or the virus. They just didn't pick him. Straight up. Those around him are shocked. Cam Robinson said this: if it is true that Brandt Clarke is not going to be invited to Team Canada's World Junior Camp, I'm absolutely flabbergasted. Canada's blue line already appeared a bit thin on paper with Clarke playing a top-level role. It would be insane to leave him off strictly on merit. Like, it's actually kind of crazy. The more I look on social media and I try to understand why there might have been an argument that Brandt Clarke should not have been added to this team, like, I just can't find one. There isn't anybody who has tried to break down this situation, say, okay, I would rather have a team that has Olen Zellweger and Donovan Sabrango than I would a team that has Brandt Clarke. I'd rather have a guy like Vincent Iorio or Jack Thompson playing top right-handed minutes than I would Brandt Clarke. There is nobody who is going out there even trying to make that argument, because Clarke is literally the best right-handed defenseman in the OHL, the best defenseman, period. And what? He's not making the team. He's not even being asked to be on the team. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, for LA Kings fans, let me know what you think about this entire thing. Like, it's very difficult to stomach the idea that Team Canada is going to be icing a roster that looks like this, and it's not going to include probably the guy that I was super excited to seeing the most on that blue line, and seeing how much he would have improved from last year's U18 championship. It is so weird to me that this has been the case, but let me know in the comments what you think about this entire thing as well. I hope, for the sake of everything that has gone down, that when the World Juniors go on, and you have Brandt Clarke still trucking along in the OHL doing his thing, I hope the guy gets like a hat-trick a game. I hope the guy goes out there and he scores at an unbelievable pace, winning all the awards, Player of the Month, Defenseman of the Month, whatever it is they hand out in the OHL. I hope he gets all those awards while the World Juniors are going on, and because of that, I actually wouldn't really be all too upset if Team Canada doesn't go far this year. I'm kind of cheering for a lot of the other guys and other teams anyway. I want to see what Team USA can do after that generational Hughes, Zegras, Caulfield team and whatever was broken up. I want to see what other teams in Europe can do. I want to see what a lot of these guys can do. Team Canada had their shining moment last season in the U18s, and Brandt Clarke was on that squad with Bedard, with Wright, etc. So Who knows? Let's see what happens here at this year's World Juniors. But for Brandt Clarke not being on the team, this is absolute treason, and I am just so shocked to see it. Talk to me in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. Show us 99, and bye.